Hello, in this presentation me and my group will be addressing the question, how will the rise of alternative media form the basis of political campaigns? Answering this question could take a book. We will attempt to answer it in several minutes. To begin, we will underline the history of alternative media, exploring its use in the past and its effects. Following this, we will proceed with an examination of alternative media's use today in politics, drawing contemporary examples of its application and highlighting its effects in the public and political sphere. Lastly, we will be hypothesizing and speculating on the future of alternative media and how it will continue to evolve within the political landscape.
Political communication has existed since ancient Rome, but as technology has evolved, so have the ways in which the media is able to influence political agendas and frameworks. In the past, the main purpose of political media was the diffusion of news and information. Here, media can be considered one way. Media was not participatory. Throughout history, political leaders have used communication tools to gain and maintain power. For example, the media existed to influence the electorate. For example, political propaganda used by the government and the media during both world wars. Now, the media plays the role of watchdog, to scrutinise government and safeguard the transparency of democracy. Australian law prevents the common ownership of newspapers, television and radio broadcasting licences that serve the same region. The purpose of this legislation is to encourage diversity in the ownership of the most influential forms of media. The media exists as a platform for the electorate to express their views of politics. To illustrate, nowadays everyone can be a journalist, able to report their political opinions by means of social media.
In recent times, the most considerable challenge to the dominion of mass information dissemination, which has until now been dominated by print and broadcast media, is the emergence of the internet as a source of information. In particular, Web 2 technology formats such as YouTube, Facebook and Twitter seem to change the way in which society consumes information. Whereas broadcast and print media formats offer one-way information dissemination, Web 2 technologies offer individuals the chance to engage in a reciprocal forum. However, whilst these technologies can be said to have opened new avenues in the development of campaigning strategies, there is yet to be a considerable amount of evidence specifying the effect, and indeed the effectiveness, of social media campaigning on voting output. In contrast, the use of social media can already be seen to have been utilised in social movements around the world, notably the Arab Spring and Ukraine protests, but also in smaller events such as the Colombian kidnappings in 2008 by a guerrilla force. Social media exposure led to 10 billion people in protests in 20 cities in Colombia and 45 billion in other cities around the world. And despite no considerable body of work advocating its use and proposing how to use it, there is now increasing evidence of the utilisation of social media in political campaigns. In the Indonesian elections of 2012, for example, social media has been used to connect isolated and disconnected communities with the political discourse. Another advantage of these campaigns is the cost. Jokowi's 2012 Jakarta campaign was the cheapest winded Indonesian electoral campaign on record. The use of social media and, in particular, Twitter, was also evident in the 2013 Italian elections. Whilst it was clear that many candidates were uncomfortable with the new medium, primarily using it to disseminate information to the public, rather than attempting to create relationships, the election helped in the formation of body theory, informing on the best means of utilising social media. In particular, it was clear that emotive tweets which targeted political opponents were most likely to excite response from the public. Through the development of theory, political campaigns will become more likely to integrate web technologies into their political campaigns.
Based on the recent advancements in technology and social media, we hypothesize that the ubiquity and usage of alternative, more modern media will continue to rise in future political campaigns. Already, the rise of alternate media has seen a decline in the relevance of traditional mass media like newspapers. For example, between 2010 and 2015, the daily circulation of Melbourne's metropolitan newspaper, The Age, has decreased by 49.1%. In comparison, digital subscriptions have increased by 228.7%. If this trajectory is any indication, then we can expect that this digitalization of media will continue to rise and eventually replace these old forms of media. As has already been seen in the campaigns for the most recent Australian federal election, candidates are prioritising alternative medias to promote their candidacy and to reach out to a broad range of voters. Thus, use of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, and even Grindr, in the case of the Greens, is succeeding as the most influential and prevalent forms of media used in campaigns and will continue to grow in the future. Furthermore, with the advent of the first online census, despite arguably unsuccessful, there is the possibility that in forthcoming elections there could be the introduction of online voting. This demonstrates yet another advancement in the modernisation of political campaigns and elections.